never going to have all the answers. It just doesn't work. Humanity does not dictate those facts because we are human, and we're going to make mistakes, and no one has all the answers. But one thing that I believe that we can always do, I believe that we can always have our minds set to the point where we're genuinely looking for authentic responses. We can get ourselves to that place. Mm-hmm. And once we get ourselves to the place where we're getting authentic answers all the time, then we can disseminate when things are kind of out of alignment.
The Get There is a podcast about the journey behind the jersey, the unseen years before the scholarships, the rankings, and the bright lights. In each episode, we sit down with the parents and coaches who walked alongside exceptional athletes as they grew from white-eyed kids into disciplined, top 3% Division I competitors. These are the people who showed up early, stayed late, made hard choices, and quietly shaped greatness long before the world was watching. Through honest conversations, our guests share the strategies that worked, the struggles that tested them, and the unique perspective of watching potential slowly turn into performance. We talk about belief and boundaries, pressure and patience, setbacks and resilience. Whether you're a parent, a coach, or anyone invested in long-term growth, the Get There explores what it truly takes to support an athlete, not just to win, but to become.
Kalin Hall, Spanish Fork, Utah, 1993 BYU alumni, married to an amazing woman, Hollie, amazing gymnast and mother, father of 5 amazing children, KJ, Jaren, Dawson, Tyson, and Mateja, grandfather to 5, soon to be 6, and 2 amazing daughters-in-laws, Kinsley and Brianna. And so happy to be who I am and where I am today.
Well, we're going to talk about your stats here. Yeah. Let's back it up a little bit.
We had a couple of them.
Yeah, a little bit. All conference, all region, all state running back in high school. Gatorade Player of the Year, 89 and 90. Went to Dixie 1991. 91? 91. Yeah. And then finished up at BYU 92, 93. Mm-hmm. Married Hollie, who was a BYU gymnast. Yep. That's where the boys and your daughter got their real athleticism from?
That's where it all came from. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I actually thought long and hard about making my sons all do gymnastics when they were younger, and it's not too late, but we'll get back into that. So you got 5 kids. KJ is a standout at Maple Mountain, running back. He was running back for BYU 2015, 2017. Dawson played baseball at BYU 22, 23, lettered in baseball, basketball, football in high school. Mm-hmm. Tyson, he was the number 1 rated wide receiver coming out of Utah. 2020 Maple Mountain Offensive Player of the Year. Earned All-State and All-Region 2019. Played varsity basketball, baseball, football. We had Jaren. So as I was kind of thumbing through some of these, there were some intriguing things. Finished number 1 at BYU in career interception avoidance percentage with 52 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 4th all-time in career pass efficiency rating, 158. Tied Steve Young for number 4 all-time BYU in career completion percentage. That's something to. Mm-hmm. So dual threat quarterback, registered 976 yards on the ground, 181 carries, 9 touchdowns. He had a great career at BYU. Went on to play in the NFL. Yeah. Played baseball for BYU, but BYU his freshman and sophomore year, right? Yeah. Junior year he went football. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Spent 4 years in the NFL. Mm-hmm.
It's been a little.
Is that accurate?
Oh, 2.5.
2.5. Oh, yeah. Time flies.
Time flies. Yeah.
And then Mateja. Mm-hmm. Did I pronounce that right? Mm-hmm. She played soccer in high school. Yeah. And just went to the MTC.
Just went to the MTC.
All 4 boys. All 5 kids served missions.
All 5 went on missions.
So, so you figured out how to raise athletes and good people.
I figured out how to marry well. That's what I figured out how to do. So that helps that whole equation. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's an impressive thing, and I think for me personally, and for anybody that has watched more than one of my episodes, it's redundant, but that's my goal. The goal is to use athletics to develop people. Mm-hmm. if they come out as great athletes, that's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It'll provide a lot of good experiences for them. But the number one goal for me is, I want kids that are resilient and tough and kind and can compete and that can win and that can lose. Yeah. So I figure that competitive sports is a great playground for that.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So I want to back up a little bit and talk about your young life.
Yeah.
Athletically, mom and dad really into sports? Did you come from a...
Yeah, my mom and my uncles, they were more into the sports than my dad was. So yeah, it was definitely had some drive that came from my parents, but it was more friends than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
So was it something that was like when you were younger playing sports, was it just something that all your buddies were doing and so you jumped into it?
I just did it because everyone else was doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a love for it. I was good at it.
Yep.
And when I grew up in the youth leagues, there were no parents that did the youth coaching, right? It was all the local youth coaches that were in the same areas for many years. And so these wonderful men that gave their time, when they saw a young man or a young woman that was talented, they were like, hey, you know what? This is a good path for you to get involved with, stay out of trouble, to magnify some of your talents. And that's just what happened. And they would seek after the good athletes who they knew that were in the different areas. And, it became easy because all of your friends were doing it anyway. Yeah. So it was a little different back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parents were supportive?
Yeah. I mean, as much as they could. My parents had to work, though. You know, I mean, my household, my mom raised me by herself, and she had to work 2 jobs, and so she couldn't make it to a lot of stuff. Yep. She worked weekends also, so she came to games when she could. So heavily relied on friends and coaches to get me to places where I needed to be and where they wanted me to be at. So,
Yeah, man, yeah. That scenario has been flipped on its head where moms and dads and parents seem to be way more excited about the sport than little Johnny, who
a lot of times
may rather play Mario Kart than go.
Oh, a lot of times
than
that's
go
the
run
case.
sprints.
Absolutely.
Today.
Times have changed.
Yeah. What were college athletics like in the 90s?
You know what? They were I think they were at its purest form of athletics, because ultimately to be there, you needed to really want to be there, right? You really had to put a lot into it. You had to do a lot of finding. The ability for colleges to go and seek and find you wasn't as good as it is today, because the platforms to seek and to find people are a lot better now than they used to be. You ultimately had to be in a close proximity to be able to find young men and young women to participate on your athletic teams, right? And the young people had to seek after you also, because the networking abilities weren't as they are today, right? You don't have all the social media platforms and the videos and the different things of that nature to present your argument on why you should be at an institution, right? And so it was a little different. It was gritty, and everything was difficult, tough, and hard. And I can recall back when we played where we didn't even get water. In 2 days they used to give us ice chips, right? And like some of these things, which you shouldn't happen. Like, I don't condone those type of things, but they were just the way that things were, right? Young people were a lot tougher, and because they were required to be a different type of tough. Mm-hmm. Like the kids nowadays are extremely tough and much more talented than they were, 20, 30, 40 years ago, just because of the technology and the training and all those different elements. But one thing, the mindsets were so strong for us growing up, where we were so much mentally tougher, and things didn't really affect us as they do with young people today, because we had no alternative but to push through. I can recall, 2 days and 110 degree, and then we go 3 days, and then it was tackling all the time. And, with the body types that are here today, kids get injured a lot more because they're bigger, faster, and stronger. But still, what we used to have to endure back in those times was a little bit different. It was a lot more mental toughness, right, that we had. We were able to we were demanded to have, right? Quite frankly, and it wasn't, you know, you didn't have to coddle people as much as they are coddled today. It happened a little bit, but for the most part, it just wasn't in the vocabulary of the coaches that were there. Coaches were different. You know, coaches used to grab kids and, you know, and I don't condone those type of things, but ultimately it was just different time. You know, lifestyles and life behaviors, they're all different. And so collectively today, you know, we see things as they are because everything grows and matures and things change just naturally because life changes and, you know, you're able to evolve. Evolution takes place in a lot of different, you know, criteria.
Yeah. So how'd they find you? How'd you find college? How'd you get there?
So, close proximity, you know, from Las Vegas to Dixie College, you know, it's a very close area, right?
Yeah, okay.
And Dixie College was for young people like myself at the time who didn't take their schooling very seriously, right? And so it was an easy transition because Dixie was one of the national powers for junior college, and unfortunately, I couldn't accept the USC or the Nebraska scholarship out of high school because I didn't do what I needed to do, you know, in the classroom. So ultimately, it was like, okay, I can still get to what I would like to get to by going to Dixie College. And it was just right up the road. Coach Croshaw was always getting players from Las Vegas because, again, it's close, you know, it's an hour and a half away, a lot of talent in Vegas, you know, and it's closer than California because, you know, again, your recruiting budget is only so much, right?
Yeah.
And so you had to kind of go with what was regionally available for you, so.
So a couple years at Dixie, and then at that point BYU. That's a farm school.
It's been a farm school for BYU for many years, and for me it was more of a life decision than a football decision because, quite frankly, when I played, like, you got to understand that football was a lot different. Like when we played the game in the early '90s, I-back dominant, right? You know. Student body right, student body left, power right, power left, counter, inside trap. It was all running back based, right? Power game. It wasn't the vertical passing game. And so for me, I was a tailback. BYU was not a good choice for me football-wise, but it was the best choice for me life-wise. And so I picked the life choice rather than the football choice. And so that's why I ended up at BYU. You know, of course, they wanted a change of pace guy, someone that they didn't really ever have in a true, you know, traditional I-back. And for that particular time, and it was something that, you know, we had another good friend of mine from Las Vegas, Jamal Willis. He was there as well, and so it would have been two guys that they weren't normally getting at BYU, you know, because BYU was a wide open pass attack, and they really did utilize, you know, downhill runners, and so it was a change, but it was a change for a lot of reasons that were a lot bigger than the game, and that's why I ended up where I ended up at BYU. So
awesome. No, that's great. Well, and you know, hindsight's 2020. I think it worked out.
Yeah,
it's just my opinion. I've known you for 15 minutes. I think it worked out.
Hey, I can accept it, and I was happy with it. It was a great experience.
Yeah, so you met Hollie there.
Met my wife. She was a gymnast, local. She was from Springville. She went to BYU. She was a gymnast. Actually, I met her because of Jamal, because Jamal's wife now, Leslie, and Hollie grew up being really good friends and gymnasts together. And so I was introduced because of Jamal to Hollie, and, you know, we just hit it off, and it was, you know, it was the best decision I ever made, that's for sure. You know, it kind of changed the trajectory of what I was, you know, kind of aligning my life towards, right? The things that I thought that I wanted, those things changed, you know, as soon as I met Hollie and as soon as we started to embrace our relationship and as soon as we went to a direction of a grander ideal of what life truly is, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So you guys met, you started having kids. I like to know, I mean, obviously you both come from strong athletic backgrounds. So when you started having kids, you started enroll them in Little League, and they probably, I'm assuming they maybe did some soccer and then transitioned and did some baseball and did some flag. I don't know if flag football was a thing back then. But was there a plan structured around, you know, look, our kids are going to play high level sports?
No, never. I mean, it just happened, you know. It just happened because of where we moved. And the high level sports happened with baseball. that's where all the high-level competition started. It was with Super League Rocky Mountain Baseball Academy.
Okay.
That's when all those Super League teams first started coming together. And Corey Schneider actually was the first Super League baseball coach that my son KJ had. And, from that, it just materialized that we were here in South County, and baseball just happened to be really big down here.
Yeah.
And so from that, there was a lot of dads that were really involved with baseball. And my kids just started playing because grandpa and uncles, they were baseball guys. And so it was natural, easy. I'm like, 'cause I wasn't a baseball guy. But all my kids started doing baseball. Like, that was their thing. Like, they all played. They all were in the little super leagues because of the area in which we chose to raise our kids was here in South County.
Yeah.
Baseball was so big.
Yeah.
The friends and the friend groups that we had, they were all playing. So it was like, hey, let's get together, get a team, whatever. I mean, I wasn't a coach. I'm not a baseball guy. So I'm like, whatever, let's go play. And so, I had another really good friend of mine, Francis Gibson. He's from Texas guy. We went to BYU together. And so we started coaching like a little Super League football team together because Francis is a Texas guy and he wanted to get the guys together. And, I got a lot of nephews, right? I've lived in the community a long time. I have a lot of surrogate nephews. And so we put together a little football team that had, probably a half dozen guys that ended up playing college football for KJ. Huh. And then right after that, it was like, okay, well, I mean, that seemed to work. Jaren wanted to play football because he saw his older brother playing. So when he was 8 years old, he started playing quarterback, and we coached a little team, and same thing happened. I have all my little nephews from around the way, and all throughout the area, because they hear BYU coaches coaching, and some of them moms and dads, hey, can we get our kids on your team, and blah blah blah, and it ended up being like a really awesome experience because we had so many wonderful friends that played with us, and we had so many fun trips, and it started out with being like, okay, competitive, baseball, and then this little traveling football team, but it was a lot of good friends and a lot of magnificent memories that we were able to form. And so off of KJ's youth league football team, there's about 8 kids that played, Division I football, okay? And then off of Jaren's team, there's about 18 kids that ended up playing at some level Division I football. So it was like one of those things where like a lot of the talented kids from the area, just because of who we were and how we had a lot of fun and, just kind of gravitated to it. But it was the baseball that started it all out. And the same with the baseball. A lot of them boys ended up playing beyond high school on all of those baseball teams.
Do you think, I'll come back to baseball because I had a lot of questions about baseball, but the difference between, 10 players.
On the baseball team?
No.
Oh.
You had 8 players on KJ's team.
Yeah.
Play D1.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had 18,
like 18
on Jaren's. So what do you think the difference was?
They were big kids. They had good size, or they were really fast. I mean, they had some gifts. That's what it was. They always did, though. Like,
do you not think it had anything to do with like, I don't know, did you change your approach in coaching?
Oh, no, I was who I was. Bear in mind, like, when I coach, look, you chose to do it. Since you chose, we're going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
It was hard-nosed. Oh, we didn't mess around.
Yeah.
I didn't mess around, and the guys that coached with me, we didn't mess around. It was old school. Like, we grew up. So those young people, they learned to work hard.
Yeah.
They learned to work through tough stuff.
Yeah.
Because we had some tough things that they had to do.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was never belittling, but man, it was really tough.
Yeah.
And they were in shape, and they were tough, and they didn't fear anyone.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who we were playing against. Our kids did not fear anybody.
Yeah.
And it just translated as they got older, because they grew up like, you know what? We did more difficult things than this in practice.
5 years ago when we were
we had a lot tougher things than this going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was just because, again, not saying that it was the right way, but it's the only way that I knew how to do it.
Sure.
Because there were so many empty buckets in my basket that I didn't resolve with my playing days.
Sure.
So I said, okay, if I have some young people who are going to decide to do this, and parents, then we're going to do it the right way. It's going to be hard because football, we don't want to give anyone a false sense of reality, right?
Yeah.
We want you to know this is what this is, okay? It's not fun. It's not for everybody. And I've always had that approach. I always let anyone play, But just understand that this is tough.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do it, you better be a tough person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it resonated with the greater majority. Thus, 18 of those 20-something kids went on to play at some level of Division I football.
Division I football.
And that's fact.
Yeah.
And to this day, I see the kids throughout the communities, and I mean, Coach Hall, I love on the kids. Extension of our families, and we had so many, the McCray families, and we had so many people that were just within the general area, because back then it wasn't as big, and the numbers of people weren't as much as they are now. And so we had kids from different areas. We had kids from Payson, kids from Spanish, kids from Provo, because if you wanted to play, you had to have enough bodies to play, so you had to kind of piece kids together regionally. It's not like it is now, like the youth conference and whatnot, where you got all these teams at these different age groups. It wasn't that.
Well, the population of the valley has just increased so much too.
Exactly. So it was different.
Yeah.
But like the approach we took, we were serious about it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, we were serious, and it was serious because the kids and the parents said that they wanted it that way. And said, okay, if that's what you guys want, this is the only way we're going to do it. Is if you guys choose to do this. Now, we're not making you do this. You don't have to do this. But this is just the choice to do it. And not saying that we're trying to create elite athletes. We just want young people to be structured and disciplined and learn how to do hard things. Simple as that. Yeah. We didn't think the byproduct of that was going to be we had 18 kids going to college. That wasn't ever part of the equation. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's a byproduct.
Yeah. So. You coach them up to, what, 9th grade? Hand them off to high school in 9th grade?
Coach them up to 8th, 9th grade, and then we handed them off. And then that was what it just.
Did a lot of them play at the same high school?
Splits. Majority of them did, but it wasn't the same. I mean, it was many of those groups didn't lose games in youth leagues, and we're going all over the place. They didn't lose.
I watched my 10-year-old. Yeah, I watched my 10 and my 12-year-old, and sometimes I sit back and sometimes I go, this might be the funnest part of your athletic career.
Could be.
And I think there's a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of special moments to come. Yeah. Probably. Right. But when I look at like just the core rawness and just the purity of it,
doesn't get no better.
It does. Yeah, I don't know that it does.
No, it don't. It never will. It never will, because when young people are participating in events at a younger age, the stakes per se are not nowhere. They're not really high, right? Yeah. The loss factor is you lose a game. Who cares? Yeah. There you go eat some ice cream. It's done. Who cares? Yeah. No one's reading about it. No one's texting about it. It's not in the papers. Yeah. So once you get a little older, the stakes get a little higher, and then people get a little meaner. Yeah. Get a little more cruel. And they become a little bit more involved for whatever reason. Yeah. Right. And then it causes a situation where the fun really starts to be sucked from the game.
Well, you talk about building like mental resilience. It's like some of the armchair, like
Oh, jeez.
I hope all the dudes that play at high levels just ignore comments. But I mean, some of the armchair quarterbacks that get in there and be like, "Oh, this dude's trash." I'm like,
yeah, it's bad.
I'm like, guys,
it's bad.
This come from a dude that probably has never stepped on a high school football field.
Oh yeah.
And it's this and that, and it's like,
yeah.
If you have the blessing and opportunity to be on a collegiate team, there's
very few of them.
You're special, and if you make it to the league,
oh gosh,
you're you're
a percent of a percent.
But there's still all this. Yeah, the negativity and
it's the world we live in.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a sad deal. Yeah, and I got some stories about that. Like I'm like, whoa, people are so unrealistic about what reality is. But it's a way for people to find their own peace by pulling others down. The crab philosophy in life, right? They're always gonna pull someone else down, makes them feel better. Yeah. Even if they can't do it, it just makes you feel better if someone else is suffering more, which is sad. Human nature would dictate the fact that as people, we're genuinely, we have ourselves that are imperfect, right? We have imperfections naturally. And then there's others that allow those imperfections to come to a vocal standpoint, right? Yeah. And it affects others' lives, and a lot of folks don't care, because as long as they feel better about themselves.
So. Yeah. Youth baseball.
Oh yeah.
When did KJ start? What years was he playing?
Oh, he was 8 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
He was 8 years old. Seven or eight.
7, 8.
Yeah, Corey Snyder.
Where he started playing with Rocky Mountain. Competitive league or super league or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Great. He's a great player. Cage is a great baseball player.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Great. He's great. He's a phenomenal golfer, which what he should have did then.
Yeah.
But he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal base. So fast. That dude was so fast. Oh, blazing fast. And he could hit a ball. You know, but his old foolish dad tried to push him a little bit too much of that doggone football and got him away from, I think, what one of his true callings would have been baseball. So, yeah. Oh, he could swing that stick, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was he always kind of gifted at it?
Oh, talented, always.
Was he?
This dude, he was 3 years old, throwing balls up. Whack!
Yeah.
You know, I'm 2 years old. I'm throwing fast pitches to him. All my friends know. They remember coming over to our old house in Provo. He had this little pop-up, pop, the ball bops up, and he's whack, crushing the ball, and I'm over there, you know, first kid, you know, hyper, you know, over-aggressive father, you know, don't know any difference, you know, just going overboard with everything. Yeah. But he was so naturally talented, and he was just a good person, and he got it, and he was cerebral, and, you know, unfortunate injuries ended his career too early because I mean, at one point in time, he had the longest touchdown run at BYU ever. Yeah. You know, San Jose State.
San Jose State.
Oh, I mean, the boy could fly.
Yeah.
Could fly.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But you know what? That baseball thing, though, he was just natural, man. He could swing that bat. He was athletic, great hand-eye coordination, glove, catch. 2 years old, I'm throwing pop flies. He's catching them, right? Yeah. 3 years old.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's unusual.
It's unusual. So, but he was just naturally, you know, coordinated, right?
Is that how all your kids were?
Not the last one, but yeah, not the last boy, but most of them were pretty naturally just gifted at whatever, you know. So.
So pretty competitive? Like how competitive was Little League baseball for your family?
Yeah, no, it was really competitive. Like I said, from an early age, when we aligned them with certain baseball individuals, like we're going traveling and doing the travel circuit young ages. Yeah. And then Corey and them started it off, and then obviously being in Spanish, there were other teams here. And so, you know, you go to a different team where you got more friends, and all the teams here traveled. They all went somewhere, Rocky Mountain, up north, Idaho, down to St. George. Yeah. That was from the time that they were 9 years old. Yeah. And because older brothers was doing it, our other friends who had younger brothers, their younger sons were doing it, and so teams were started. Hey, let's get it. And they're all my buddies, right? So we all throw our kids on a team, like Jaren, his little squad. They were awesome all throughout youth leagues, and all those kids played, and you know it was fun. And Dawson, it was the same thing for him. He had a group of buddies, like everyone had younger brothers, and everyone played South County. Everyone were on teams, right? Yeah. So there was one time that we had all three of our boys all playing 2 baseball games in a day. So we have 6 games in a day, right? Yeah. And then on Monday Night League, you know, you got Monday night, all 3 of them got games, and then they got a Friday tournament, a Saturday. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I can relate.
Yeah.
We had my kids had 30 tournaments across 4 months.
So we didn't do that.
No.
Oh, that's a lot. It's a lot more now, mind you. Like we were 40 games in a year, 30 games in a year. Super League.
That sounds right. That sounds good.
So,
well, and that was going to be my. That's something I really want to talk about. Is like all of your kids were multi-sport athletes. Mm-hmm. All of them.
All of them. Everybody played 2-3 sports.
And Jaren played. He played baseball and football for BYU.
Jaren's last baseball game, he hits a home run, a triple, and a double. His last baseball game at BYU. Yeah. I was like, dude, what are you doing, bro? I mean, this is the deal right here, right? But yeah, I mean, but it wore on him, more towards body.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah. If you're comfortable talking about it, like what went into the decision for him to go?
His health. His health. I mean, it's just you couldn't keep doing it. It was too much. His health. I mean, he was getting beat up. You were training year round, different types of body parts, and you're never getting a rest. You're never getting a break, and emotionally, physically, it's just too much. It ultimately wore him down. He was wore down even before he could get to his peak of football. Body was banged up. Yeah. It never recovers, right? You just never recover?
Because you can't take breaks.
Can't take breaks.
Do you think he just felt like he had a better opportunity with football, or? Did he just love the sport more?
He just loved football more.
He just loved football.
Yeah, I think he just loved. And obviously, when Zach was drafted, that was something. Because Jaren and Zach were head to head the whole time they were there, back and forth, mano and mano.
Yeah.
The other one guy was there, the other one could have played.
Yeah.
It was, and Jaren saw the success that Zach had and the opportunity he has. Like, man, I'm right here with him.
Yeah.
I mean, why if I don't put, because he never put all of his attention in football.
Sure.
He until he was a junior in college, he didn't put all his attention into football.
Right.
That was the first time. And so he had some development to catch up with because he was doing so many other different things.
Yeah.
And when he saw the success that Zach had, he was like, look, let me go chase this. And I mean, I love football. And so why won't I try to give it everything that I have? I mean, I like baseball, but I love football. Yeah. Right? And so you only do so much. So, yeah.
It's a common, it's a topic that I have. I have conversations with parents like this all the time about, how do you approach specialization and when do you do it? And my kids are all coached by great people. Truly, they all have really good coaches. And all of them would tell you, we love, multi-sport athletes are fantastic, especially at a young age. Keep in mind, my oldest is 12, so we're tiny. We're just starting. But I had a conversation with one of the coaches the other day about fall ball. And he goes, your boy playing fall ball? I go, yeah. What's he doing with football? I go, I don't know. We're going to play some flag football probably. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, well, and he means well. He's like, look, I got a whole bunch of kids that are going to play fall baseball. And, respectfully, if one of them outpaces your boy because your boy's playing football, chance he loses his spot in the spring or whatever, right? It's like coaches are well-meaning and they're trying to navigate this all, but the landscape of youth sports right now is not making it convenient.
Yeah.
A multi-sport athlete parent, you got to fight for your kid to be able to play the sports, or you got to be willing. You got to be willing to say, give his spot away. He'll earn it back, or whatever.
Or your kid's got to be a freak athlete.
Or your kids.
And it go ahead, and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll just play this sport, and then when it comes that season, he'll still be the best guy out there. I mean, if he's capable or she's capable of being in that position. Yeah. That's kind of the youth sports have gotten out of control. You were going down that path already. It's gotten out of control. I mean, I'm not an advocate at all of single sports athletes. I'm not. I think that kids need a break. I think that if they're interested, like if they don't want to, then that's fine. I mean,
sure.
If they're their deal, then okay. You just go do where your heart's at. That's fine. But if they feel the pressure that they have to because X, Y, and Z are doing it, then that's something different. You shouldn't have to feel that pressure that young because you don't know what you're going to end up growing into. Who knows? You never know. Yeah. And for me personally, after seeing my kids do all these different things, they had a wonderful experience doing these different sports because it allowed them to be able to branch out and to be introduced to other in different types of adversities as well, in different situations. But it's changed. It's changed. And I will be the first to admit that there's not a lot of young people that can do it and are willing to do the things that you need to do to be able to cross-sectionalize different sports.
Yeah. So I have one comment and then one question. The comment is my fear with some of my own kids is that I'm introducing them to a level of competition that their love and passion for the sport is not equal to. Yeah. And I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Oh yeah.
Because I've seen kids, man, how do I say what I'm trying to say? When do you reach your athletic stride? Right. Or when do you catch the fire? When does it click? Or when and it's like if you're pushing them into a scenario where the team is more competitive than their love for the sport is, then it may or may not be the most positive experience. And I'm rubbing shoulders with a lot of moms and dads who find it imperative that their kids play on a really, really, really good team, but at 10 years old, they're already seeing more bench time than they are field time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's way too early to make that choice.
Way too early.
And your son would be, or daughter would be way better off going playing on a silver level team.
Yeah.
Where you're going to get reps. And he's going to figure out whether he even wants to do this thing. So navigate, crystal ball. I'd love to see where, all these kids end up. But as a parent, it's like, man, the last thing I want to do is sabotage my kid. And it's super important that I'm paying attention and making sure they're in an environment where they're really enjoying the process.
Yeah. That's a big part.
And it doesn't always correlate with wins.
Yeah.
Winning at a high level doesn't always equal fun and love for the game.
Yeah.
And losing all the time doesn't necessarily correlate with disdain or dislike for the game. It's a really interesting, like some of my son's absolute favorite games that he references, oh, Dad, remember that game? Were losses. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Such a close game, whatever, we played good. And we ended up in an L. Yeah. And I'm going, okay, this is interesting. I would have thought you were really excited about that one tournament that we went down and won. It's like, no, he doesn't remember that tournament.
Right.
And none of the teams were super strong, and we walked through it. It's like, no, he wants the battle, the struggle, the back and forth. So it's interesting. Then I had a question. How much training? How much training at home? Because you coached you coached a lot of football.
Yeah.
Did you help out with baseball on a coaching level?
Youth league.
A little bit?
A little bit.
How much outside of practice training went into your family?
My kids?
Yeah, with your kids.
Well, not until they got to 9th, 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they started to train with, Jaren had a quarterback coach, KJ had a hitting instructor, Dawson got a little hitting instructor when they're older,
Okay.
Older level, when they made a decision that they wanted to try to move towards this. Before then, we didn't do anything, so, but it's different. I mean, that was, my kids are 30 to 22 years old, so, 10 years ago, things are a little different. Now, it's kind of like everyone thinks they're getting behind the 8 ball. On some things, foundational training is good. I believe it is 100%, but how much foundational training depends on what you're trying to do. And realistically, how much your muscle memory you're going to retain. Because I don't believe that a lot of these kids, I think a lot of these kids, especially if they don't want, see, again, I go back to what does a kid want to do? Not what does mom and dad want to do?
Yeah.
Grandma and grandpa, what does a kid want to do? It's a different thing if a young person is asking for this than it is when mom and dad are pushing for this. It's a totally different scenario. And the social pressures are pushing for this as well. Just because little Johnny's group of friends are all doing it, but do you really want to do it? Well, does he have a choice? Everybody else is doing it. It's kind of like, where does the lines of social pressure end and begin, right? When does it begin and end? And so I think that even saying if does a kid want to do it, that's hard. It's hard to really evaluate that process, because how do you really know what a young man, a young woman wants to do if they're being peer pressured, not vocally, but from a social standpoint, to be in alignment with all this stuff. Or if not, you're going to be left out, or you're not going to have friend groups because all your friends are doing it and so forth. It's an unfortunate process in which we've brought upon ourselves in society. We put ourselves into this position. Like in our own little social dichotomies that we live in, we've caused these issues. And they're serious issues, because I think a lot of the emotional stresses and emotional stresses of life have been caused because of these things that we have allowed to transpire. And it's killing kids in some cases, quite frankly. And in other cases, kids are just being washed out way too soon. Yeah. Kids are getting burned out. I mean, kids are becoming to the point where, they don't really know what they want. They don't know how they want to, progress in life. They have no idea, because they've just been doing what others have been doing for so long. And I don't have the answer to that, because you can't compartmentalize what the right thing is, because every individual kid is going to be different. But again, is the kid doing it for himself, or is he doing it for the individual, the group, or the capacity to get along or to be a part of a team or a group or a clique or whatever it may be?
Yeah, there's a real strong social athletic pressure to get private training.
Oh, yeah.
Like 8-year-old professional pitching lessons and hitting lessons. And, there's a lot of these little agility indoor facilities that are popping up all over the place that say, hey, we're going to make your kid bigger, faster, stronger. And it's filled with 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
And
which I don't agree with that. I agree with foundational training.
Yeah.
But what's the core intent behind it? Yeah. That's where my problem. And don't tell me you're gonna make my kid a phenomenal athlete in 2-3 years. Don't go there, because I don't care what kind of training you're giving him now. Foundation, if he doesn't have some natural things to go along with that training, it doesn't matter one bit. Yeah. But if you're going to tell me that you're going to foundationally train my kids so he can feel good about him or herself, okay, I'm good with that. Yeah. It's a different one. Yeah. Pitch that differently. Yeah. Like that other stuff, miss me with that. Yeah. Because I don't buy it, I don't believe it, and it's not true. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of have always thought, kind of in your vein of thinking, 8th or 9th grade, when they come to me and they're like, Dad, I want to be the best I can be at baseball. I want to be the best I can be at football. Okay. Cool. Here's the regiment.
Let's go.
This is what your nutrition looks like. This is what the training looks like. This is what after school looks like. This is what high school practice looks like. This is what conditioning. This is what the weight room. This is what we're gonna do in the weight room. But man, there's a lot of other things. It's getting. It's good though. You got good kids.
Yeah, good kids.
Real good. Lots of good values. Good men.
Seem to think so.
Yeah. And a great daughter too. So how did you use athletics to reinforce the value system that you wanted to instill in your kids?
Well, honestly, it wasn't the sports that reinforced the value system. I think it was a fundamental principle of who both Hollie and I were in the household that reinforced the value system. And the sports was just an extension of who they were at home, right? It was always about being the best version of yourself that you can be all the time. And it doesn't change when you're on the athletic endeavor, right? It doesn't change from what you are at home, then what you are with your friends, and then what you are on these sporting activities. It was always about being real to yourself, always being true to who you are, and not allowing anything to change that, regardless of what type of stardom you may or may not have. You just got to be a real, genuine, authentic person all the time, because if you're going to be the type of person who's going to be a good athlete and people are going to look up to you, you got to be that same person that they're looking up to, even when you're away from the spotlight. You always have to be genuine and authentic. And I've always just preached that to my kids. Not to say that my kids are perfect, but Hollie and I have always told our kids that you just got to just try to value who you are first and foremost if you want someone else to value. Because if you don't value who you are, what does it matter what someone else thinks? Yeah. And so I believe that with a lot of kids in today's world, they're putting themselves in a position where they're thinking a little too much of who they are, right? Rather than thinking of the small and the little person that is maybe not having as much success. How are you treating them? The people that may be overlooked, those that are not seen, that are kind of in the shadows. Those are the type of folks that you need to make sure you're trying to bring out. You can't be, being an individual that looks upon yourself as someone greater than, because it doesn't work like that. I've always said that we are the type of people that we want others to emulate, right? We want them to emulate the things that we're doing because we're doing things the right way. And if we're doing things the right way and someone's emulating it, then it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, I think it's an impressive thing. I guess I should have rephrased that question to, how did you maintain who they were through sports? It has a tendency, highly competitive athletics has a tendency to bring out. Yeah. There's some dark. Oh, yeah. There's the potential for some real challenging.
No, absolutely. But I think it comes to the point where if you know who you are, You know what the expectations are, and it never changes regardless of what circumstances you're involved in. And that is a reinforcement that parents have to be involved in. You have to align them with the right type of peer leaders, the right type of adult leadership. You have to kind of align your kids around the right type of people all the time.
Yeah.
Because if they're getting different messages in different places, then kids are going to be easily influenced, right, by things that they think and they deem as things that are important. It's like no different than these kids looking at all these cell phones and looking at these social media apps and, getting caught up to all that stuff. So like my kids never really got into that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Jaren was never into social media, and probably to his, probably wasn't to his benefit.
Maybe to his detriment a little bit.
A little bit to his detriment,
Yeah.
but that's who he was, right?
Yeah.
He was, and KJ the same way. Dawson the same way.
Yeah.
All of my kids, for the most part, they really were never putting themselves out there personally. They weren't putting themselves out there. Like, they didn't really get engaged with self-promotion and any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing about it is, okay, it's fine, but what's the true intent? What is the purpose? Like, my thing again, I'm like, look, why? Give me the why behind it.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that? Like, if it makes sense, it makes sense. It's fine, do it. But if you don't have a why behind you, why you're looking for those things, then what sense does it make to do? Why waste your time doing it? What's the end game? Ultimately, let us know what the end game is. Doesn't matter what sport it is, doesn't matter what engagement you're involved with. What is the end result that you're looking for? What are you trying to accomplish? And if you can't answer that, then why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? Yeah. What was it like watching your boy transition into the NFL?
I don't know. I mean, I played a little bit of professional ball, and so I knew some of the things that he was going to be faced with. And I had numerous surrogate nieces and nephews that played professional sports, and so I had an idea of what that looked like. I mean, he didn't have an idea of what that looked like, but I did. It's a different game, different. There's different rationales behind why things are done, and a lot of the things that are done professionally are not done for wins and losses. A lot of it's based off of monetary gain, for ownership. And so I knew what to expect, and I knew that, you had to be pretty rigid and hard, and you have to be pretty dialed in emotionally to be able to maintain and survive in that environment. And man, it's tough. It's tough because sometimes if you're a good person, it's tough to be able to evolve and to stick in professional sports, because sometimes you're asked to do things that compromise who you are as an individual, whether it's being told or whether it's being implied. And so, I talked to Jaren about it, that, he's going to have to grow some thick skin, and, things aren't going to work out the way that maybe you think they are. And it's, there may be rational reasons why they should work out the way you believe they should, but the professional game is not rational, and it's not fair. And so it's, it's one of those things where, you really have to do some searching on why you're doing this, right? And it can't just be for the monetary component, because that comes and goes. It's all the other elements, right? And so ultimately, professional sports, no matter what they are, it is a tough emotional roller coaster that you will go through. And you got to be built that way. So it's tough.
I expect high school sports to be tough.
Those are tough too, at a different level. They are.
I can't imagine.
Oh no, there's politics involved with high school sports. I mean, high school sports, you're going to deal with it. Collegiately, there's elements you have to deal with. I mean, it's the nature of humanity.
Well, we might see, and I'm speculating, but it's like, well, you've seen when NIL came into college, you saw high school sports change, and they're going to change more.
Oh, absolutely.
And I saw a news article today saying that there was some high school coach that just inked like a pretty healthy 6-figure deal, and there's some high school coaches making some real money. And now you made a comment earlier about colleges, like, look, you got to win. It's about wins and losses at a college level. Well, it's really about that at a high school level too now.
Some schools. And in a certain districts in the state of Utah, that's the case. A lot of other places around the country, that is the case. Depends on where you're at. Some areas, NIL is already a thing. I know of young people that are being moved around the country right now that are in high school, because they need to be positioned by colleges early on to be in an area where other schools can't essentially pluck them from their opportunities to participate at the college level at their institution. That's happening right now. It just depends on what level of sport that we're talking about.
What you're observing.
And the game is just changed. Like the game, because of like football specifically, and basketball both, because of NIL, colleges have a lot less room to work with young people. Like they're not going to bring too many projects on.
Yeah.
They need kids that are game ready out of high school. And if not, then they will just go to the transfer portal and get others who are, because now, unlike 10 years ago, your job is on the line if you're not winning, even at institutions like BYU, because of the high stakes that are involved with the game now. It's different. They don't have time. They can't do it.
Yeah.
They're expected to win.
So, okay. Is the 5-year rule going to happen?
Oh, it is happening. It's done. It's a done deal.
It's a done deal. So how is that? Do you think that's going to be a positive thing or a negative thing? The 5-year eligibility.
No, I think what it's going to do, it's going to take away even more so the idea that kids can come in and take their time and have opportunities to grow through a red shirt.
Yeah.
And now you have 5 years to play initially, from the very onset of coming into school, which means that ultimately you get to kind of see how all your kids are, regardless of what grade they're in or if you're red shirt. There's no such thing as red shirt. So now you don't have to worry about the clock and all that. It's just an extra year of being able to play. I would have loved an extra year. I think it's a great rule.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, some kids need some time, to get game ready, but others don't, and injuries happen, and there's just a lot of variables with football and basketball specifically that sometimes the numbers restrict you as a program, and then you get injuries. You have kids with red shirt, and now you can't really, function as a program because you have, you got to kind of now weigh out. You want to blow a guy's red shirt, or you want to put him on the field to help you right now to win, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting because I think I was excited about. It wasn't too long ago where they said, "Look, JUCO doesn't matter. Now it doesn't count against your eligibility." And in my mind, I was like, there's a lot of baseball players out there coming out of high school. They're not full grown.
Yeah.
They're not like that rule. I think had a real positive impact on a lot of hopeful baseball kids where they're like, all right, I can go develop for another 2 years and then refine some things, fine tune some things, work my tail off, and then possibly go and have a chance out there. But when they come and they do this 5-year thing, it's like, man, I see it excluding a lot of kids.
Elemental kids.
Well, and how?
That's how most kids.
Well, it's tough because there's a lot of great stories about kids that didn't peak right at high school, their senior year, but found momentum 3, 4, 5 years later, and then went on to have phenomenal careers.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's I'm sure with the landscape, I'm sure that I'm sure we're going to see more changes.
Oh yeah, of course, it's coming. It's coming, and there's some changes that are coming that a lot of people are going to be absolutely shocked at, because the way that the NCAA has kind of positioned themselves has allowed for them to become irrelevant. And essentially, the NCAA is somewhat irrelevant. They don't really have any jurisdiction, per se. They really don't. Some of the bigger conferences, they're going to branch off. They're going to form a super conference, and everyone else is going to have to play with the B League. It's going to happen. They're going to totally disassociate themselves from the NCAA. It's coming. It's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. The SECs of the world, the Big Tens, the upper echelons, those groups are going to get together, and they're going to broker their own deal with the TV contracts, their own deal, and it's going to be one that the TV organizations they're not going to balk at because they're the ones with the viewing power, right?
Views.
So ultimately, it's happened. It's been talked about for many years, but there's been some things that have been going on that are tells that it is moving towards that direction. And with all of the things that are going on, which I don't disagree with, in reference to the NIL and how those dollars are being rightfully shared with the young people that are participating and that are creating the excitement for the games.
Yep.
But with that comes a different degree of need, and the need is that those that are aligning these conferences and that are at the leadership levels of these conferences are taking these things into a different directions that are ultimately going to allow them to have success long term and what they perceive as long term success. It's changing. It is happening right now. It is coming.
It's what the people want. But like I don't think purist is the right word, but there was a purity to college sports.
There was.
Yeah, there was.
There was. But it's just different. It's changed, and it's not a lot of underdog stories, right?
Yeah.
It's not very many of those anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the NCAA basketball. You look at the teams that were there at the end. There were very few Cinderella stories because, kids repositioning themselves, coming from the lower levels, going into P5 schools that were just playing, Division I AA. That were excelling, and they were, excellent players, mind you. But after a year, they go prove themselves. Now they want to go get the big payday at the big Division I schools, right?
Yeah.
They want to be in the national spotlight, which, you can't blame them, right?
No.
So,
About watching him transition out. He just announced his retirement a month ago.
yeah.
Right. What's it been like for you and your family to?
Honestly, like the whole professional thing for me was always like, you know what? You've done something that very few will ever get a chance to do.
Sure.
First of all, you were drafted as a quarterback, and there's only usually 3 on the team. Then you started several games in the NFL as a quarterback.
Yep.
Very few will ever say they'll be able to do that. I said, so regardless of what the circumstances were, you've done more than most can ever say they would ever be able to do.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I'm proud of you. I mean, you're able to get out with most of your faculties aligned.
Yeah.
You've been able to have some tremendous experiences. And ultimately, who would not want someone with that type of historical context to be aligning themselves with in a business venture or with the organization somewhere? I mean, he's done so much. We're so proud of him because it was so much more than an undersized quarterback from Spanish Fork, Utah was ever thought to be able to do.
Yeah.
Someone who many said that he should be a running back in college, and he just absolutely thrived. So we couldn't be more proud of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a great kid. We already talked about that. He's a great kid. He's got a great family. He's got young kids. He's got a lot of greatness in front of him. What's he gonna do? What's he doing for work?
He's transitioning right now. He's trying to figure out exactly what it is that he wants to do. And I tell him all the time, I say, look, again, the historical context behind who you are and the things that you've been through. There are a lot of companies out there that will love to have an individual like you a part of their organization. I said, just a matter of you deciding on which avenue, which process or platform that you want to take it. Yeah. And so he's just trying to evaluate what that is. And ultimately, he's always been a hard worker. He's always thrived, and he's always had success. And so, something to click. There'll be something that'll come up for him. So. Yeah.
Well, perfect. Question I like to ask all my guests, especially people who have, you've lived through it 5 times now with athletes. What do you think? You speak right to me. I got young kids. I'm just starting my journey. Like, what do you think what do you think the most important thing for me to focus on?
The happiness, bottom line. Make sure they're happy with it, regardless of what it is. Yeah. The kids have to embrace it and they have to be happy with it, genuinely, authentically happy with it. Yeah. And not the superficial things that often come from the peer pressure. And that's the thing where those, one of the things that I don't think I did good as a parent early on is I didn't have those conversations with my kids offline, so that they knew that Dad was endearing to the fact of the questions that he's asking them. We all ask, are you okay? You having fun? Do you like it? That's all superficial. Like being able to get to the root of our conversation as as dad and child, and really allowing them to have the expression of what the reality, their reality is. And for them to be clear and concise on exactly what it is that they want out of this. And for them to be comfortable explaining to me wholeheartedly of what they're feeling in that moment. That's the one thing I wish I would have changed. I wish I would have did that earlier in my kids' lives, and it would have allowed me to have better and more meaningful conversations with my children about any and everything, not just the sports. Because the sports things can be, again, a young person can even tell mom and dad the things that they believe mom and dad want to hear.
Yeah.
If you're not authentic in your display of your truthfulness to your kids about what you're really wanting them to tell you.
Yeah.
You got to get to the roots. You got to have, and a lot of people, oh, we have great relationships with my kids. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But do you?
Yeah.
I mean, are you hearing what you want to hear? And does your kid make you happy because of the things that he wants to see from you, or is he happy because of the things that he or she are getting from what they're getting from this particular sport?
Yeah.
That's real. And that's a lot of times it's hard for us to separate ourselves from that as parents because we want the best for our kids.
Yeah.
We really do.
As much as I'm trying to get my head right and approach athletics in a healthy, in the right manner, as you're talking to me, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think, if my kids didn't want to do it, I've made it such a, like, I can say whatever I want to them. I tell my kids all the time, like, listen, we're not doing this because I need you to go to college. Like, I don't care. Like, it's about this, 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 and this. But it's such a big part of our life. I don't think my kids would be comfortable coming to me and being like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that we can sit, you get online and I look at all these analysts and these former pros and all these guys with training programs and this and that, and we've got what it takes to take your kid. Dude, the one thing that nobody's talking about is passion.
Yeah.
And you can't force that.
No.
I don't know that it can be taught either.
No, it can't be taught.
You might be able to cultivate it. You might be able to create an environment where passion can grow. But it doesn't, like we talked a little earlier before we started recording about the different types of kids. And you've got athletes that don't want to do it.
Yeah. For whatever.
Some of the most gifted size, they got the size, the strength, the speed, and they go, nah, I don't want it. Yeah. And then on the flip side, you got the kids that maybe don't have all those non-tangibles, those gifts,
would run through a
and
wall.
just would run through a wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a real challenging dynamic to observe and see and interact with, and it's just part of it.
It's just part of the reality of life. It's humanity. That's what it is. I mean, we're never going to have the perfect sequence of events that we can carve in every situation. It's never going to happen. We're never going to have all the answers. It just doesn't work. Humanity does not dictate those facts because we are human and we're going to make mistakes and no one has all the answers. But one thing that I believe that we can always do, I believe that we can always have our minds set to the point where we're genuinely looking for authentic responses. We can get ourselves to that place. And once we get ourselves to the place where we're getting authentic answers all the time, then we can disseminate when things are kind of out of alignment. We can, but we have to have peace in ourselves first before we can ask children to have peace in themselves. Yeah. And I think us as parents, we're the ones that initiate that. Because sometimes, and one thing that I've learned over the years, and like the older I've become, and I'm a grandfather, soon to be 6 times over, I've learned to be a lot more compassionate for emotions that people have outside of traditional emotions, the things that are genuine. The genuine emotions that are not contrived based off of things that people believe they should be doing. And what I mean by that is I look and I listen all the time, and I see from afar. I look at a distance. You can read body language. You can compel yourself in your mind to do things that your thoughts can't. If you're intently involved and engaged with one's thoughts, and if you're really looking with the true intent to know and to learn and to grow and to build and to prosper, if you really want someone to grow and to be a person of true authenticity, you have to allow them to be who they are. And you can only do that from a distance. But from a distance, you can look intently. And once we begin to look intently on all these young people with the right mindset, with the right heart, with the right purpose, then that's when we allow ourselves to embrace the greatness that comes in these people, these young people. And it's unfortunate because too many of these young kids don't feel that genuine, authentic love. They know mom and dad love them. Yeah, they do. But a lot of times, these kids feel that it's done with an asterisk. It's contingent on. And the life lessons that are learned are the ones that are listened to.
I look at my kids already, and we've done, I guess, 4 years. My oldest started when she was 8. And I've done some, I can admit I've done some damage with the way I've approached their performance, in certain scenarios. And my intent has not always been, to create and build a human. It's honestly one of the main motivators for me to do this. I'm like, man, if I can go talk to enough people that do it right. What's interesting is that when you are competing against, I've had the pleasure of competing against, of my kids competing against kids whose parents played at a high level. And usually they're not the ones jumping up and down, yelling and screaming.
Yeah, typically. Usually that's what you see.
It's usually what you see.
Yeah, most, I don't know. I can't say most, but I've seen a lot of people who have played that really, they're indifferent about their kids playing. They're like, if you want to do it, I'm going to support you. But I'm not going to be overly engaged emotionally because I know what the end game is with this. So.
Well, and I also think there's some wisdom. I think they genuinely know. Because we all say it. We all say, dude, that wins and losses don't matter. We all say it.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't about winning. We all say it.
Yeah.
And we get in the middle of the game, and the umpire makes a call that we have questions about, and all of a sudden wins and losses matter so much that I'm willing to bang on the backstop and march out on the field, and because you did my son dirty or whatever. I think the dudes, the guys and the gals that have played at either college or pro, I think they really do believe that it doesn't matter at 10.
Yeah.
I think they genuinely know it, and they know that from a development standpoint, what's important is that they're out there doing it, that they're falling in love with it, that they're having opportunities to win moments, little moments, whatever, make a play, whatever, and that they're getting some ice cream with dad and mom.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and from it, like that's like when you look at a lot of professional athletes who have kids that are thriving, right? Like, and I see it more with basketball guys, right? LeBron James' sons, right? You got LaMelo Anthony, his boys. There's a lot of NBA guys who have kids that are really good.
yeah.
But you got to think about it. Like, those kids had to embrace that game because I think the greatest basketball player to ever play the game is Michael Jordan to me.
Yeah.
And his boys played, but they were just, they were just okay, right? Yeah. So there's an element that has to come that with the want to, right? I tend to believe that if Michael Jordan's kids wanted to be excellent basketball players, they had every opportunity. I had all the trainers, all the elite nutrition, all of the
money,
everything,
access to resources,
to everything,
all of it. Yeah.
But again, there has to be a whole lot of want to personally. Because there's been so many professional athletes that kids have never even done anything with the sports, right? Because again, there has to be a want to, there has to be a desire. And the ones that you see it, people are like, oh man, he's got a silver spoon. That's what I'm like, well, no, that young man or that young woman, she really wanted this because she had to work even harder to get ahead of what her parents' legacy was. And so, it's a serious thing when it comes to the want to. Man, you got to want to. I mean, if those folks are doing it at that level, with those expectations they have, understand what their want to is. So much more. So.
Well, this has been special for me. I appreciate you letting me come out and chat with you, and I appreciate you sharing your wisdom. and some of the experiences that you had raising your kids?
No. I appreciate the opportunity, and you know, from KJ, who, like I said, was a phenomenal athlete, to Jaren, who was a phenomenal athlete, to Dawson, who was an absolutely amazing baseball player, and one of the most kindest people on earth, to Tyson, who's the biggest tender heart and our best athlete in the family outside of my baby girl, who has the potential to play college soccer if she wants to after the mission. But for all of my kids, the foundation of them and who they are comes from my wife, from Hollie, who was a phenomenal athlete herself, but she's a much better person. And I think that if we can just can work towards being the best people we could be as parents, and do it on a consistent basis, and do it when our kids are watching and are not watching us, then I think all of that energy resonates into our kids bringing something back a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit higher. You know, they're really intently looking at what mom and dad are doing from a distance. And they're willing to make sacrifices to be better people if they're seeing us be better people.